one of my strongest memories is, I think it was Father Wayne, I'm not sure, coming to my house and saying mass in my basement after Ed Hawk passed away. A bunch of people had come to my house and sort of gathered spontaneously in the basement, and Father came over and decided to say a mass, and I thought it was sort of incredible in my, crappy little St. Anne basement that he would say mass there. So that's one of my strongest memories.
As you asked us to prepare for that, you said, is there something that I experienced that affected my life? And that's what comes to mind. It affected me then. It affected me in a most profound way. It was a crucible. It rocketed me into adulthood, really. It challenged my spiritual faith, tested my resilience. And I'm saying me, I think it did for most of the guys, certainly the guys that knew Ed and were close to him. It was real, it was raw. It took me off the sidelines of life, kind of put you right into the game there. I used to throw a bunch of metaphors in there, but it forced 17-year-old kids to think about what's real, what's not, what's important, how fickle and fleeting life is. My goodness, I reflected on this and put it in the book because the book was about, like I said, more than football. And I was really struggling. I thought, what's the point? And Ed had so many dreams. We had so many things we wanted to do. Bob Tebow and I stuck into the hospital and we visited him. It looked like he was going to recover. And then he took a turn for the worse, and I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. I remember when President Kennedy was assassinated. I was 10. And I just prayed that he'd come back to life. It was an immature, nonsensical prayer, I guess, but I just couldn't comprehend that somebody that vibrant was gone, and had the same thing now 7 years later with Ed. And I went in to see Father O'Brien, who was spiritual counselor, I guess, for the seniors. And I didn't really have any questions for him. I just said, Father, this just doesn't seem real. What's the point? And I don't remember what he said, except that he didn't belittle me. He didn't try to talk. He didn't give me a pep talk. He just said, well, what are you going to do? You got to make a choice. You can give up or you can keep going. And he talked about Christ and spirituality. And I walked out of there feeling more confident, feeling bolder, feeling, okay, I can get through this. I'm going to figure out what's important. And it kind of steeled me for the rest of the things in my life that I would have.
It was when Ed Hawk got shot, and that was pretty horrible. And all of a sudden you're 16, 17 years old, and you think you're immortal, and you realize that, there's such a thing as mortality, and there's a real world, and it's not always fair, and stuff happens, reality really sets in.
And Wayne, I'm not sure everybody agrees with this, but my memory of it is that we rallied as a class, we rallied as friends, we prayed together, we had mass, we hugged each other. Some guys cried, some guys didn't cry. Maybe they did later, I did later by myself on the football field. Actually, it kind of all came out. But I don't remember anybody saying, we're pissed, let's go get somebody, let's go get revenge. No, I don't remember anything. And I give a lot of credit for that to Ed. I mean, even in the hospital, he just said, I can't believe this happened. He never said, I'm mad. He never said, hey, let's avenge my injuries. And I didn't think of that till many years later. I think that's extraordinary. Maybe it's not. I would like to think that that's how people can heal from these things. But I thought that was extraordinary and a real tribute to the guys.
Well, Ed Hawk was an inspiration for me in our junior year, he and I rented an apartment in the St. Rock area for $50 a month. And we turned it into kind of a party house. But he and I did it together, but he was the inspiration for that. Oh, it was rough. It was a rough time. But, you know, we survived. His outgoing manner, and he was a lot of fun.
Right.
But like yourself, you know, in Castellano, you guys led the way for us, and you were real role models, you know.
Obviously, in August, we lost Ed, and that was absolutely the first time I had such a profound sense of loss and sadness, and it permeated. I mean, it was omnipresent the entire last year, and it continued to be. And I guess when Ed died, I just want everything to stop for a while. I wanted everybody to stop. I wanted nothing to go forward. I want everybody to realize what a good guy Ed was and how sad and unfair this was. But, you know, you realize at that point in time, life goes on. You need to take care of things. You get a realization that sometimes bad things happen and you got no control over it. You didn't do anything wrong. It happens to good people. And if you just, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to wallow and just say it's, and I think St. Louis U High handled Ed's situation as well as they could have. They were supportive, they were understanding, they made resources available at a time where that was kind of cutting edge. But at the same time, life went on. The football practices went on, the schools went on, plays went on, everything else went on.
For the high school, the seniors, they have the student athlete award. They have the Mac Bolan award. They said, here are the 4 big awards. And I'm watching this link, and one of them was the Ed Hawk Award. I was really proud of that. And just, you know, what that's one thing we did as a legacy, and they're still giving out, and they call it one of the big major awards, which, and that's pretty cool. I think that was a nice tribute that we came up with to honor Ed's memory.
The memory that I'm sure everybody has from high school is the passing of Ed Hawk. That one had a huge influence on us. And obviously, I think it really helped bond us together as a class senior year. I think we were a great part of that, but his death really, I think, really brought us together. And I can remember the day that he did pass away. We knew he had taken a turn for the worse, but I don't think we were prepared for what eventually happened. And that day, I had a summer job at the zoo. And I got a ride home, and as we normally do on the ride home, you laugh and carry on about the day's activities. So I get out of the car, you know, laughing and grinning, and slam the door. And as I walk up to my house and the porch, I see Tim Fleming sitting on my porch with his head in his hands. And I knew right then what had happened. And as I walked up, he looked up and said, "He's gone." And that was the only words we spoke. So we sat down and both just cried.